Welcome everyone this morning. Thank you so much for joining us and putting in the chat your roles. If you're able to turn on your screen, we would love to see you. I know sometimes you might be in a situation where you can't, and that's understandable. But if you are able, we'd love to see everybody. We have a small group this morning, so hopefully we'll have some good discussion and some time for some questions. This is our info session and our introduction to this ecosystem cohort. If you do decide after today to make the commitment to join us, we will be meeting on Zoom twice a month, and we'll be meeting from October through May. And I think on the flyer that's on Cox campus, you can see the different meetings and what we're going to focus on. So today we just wanted to have an information session so you can decide if this is a good commitment for you or share with others. We're also recording today. Just want to let everyone know. We will be sending out this recording to try to recruit others between now and October, so that we can give that extra time for people to decide. All right. So my name is Nathan Thompson. I work for the Rollins Center for Language and Literacy, and I am a birth through 5 facilitator. So I work with partner schools, and this is Jennifer.
Good morning, everybody. And I'm also a B5 facilitator along with Nathan. So nice to have everyone this morning, and I hope you guys make the commitment with us.
And our coworker Sam is joining us on the tech end here. So she's going to be putting some things in the chat. She's monitoring this PowerPoint presentation. So if you hear us say, Sam, we need help with this, then you'll know who we're talking to. So actually now we're going to do a pre-test. This is, you may have taken the course, you may not have. So, and Sam says hello in the chat. And so we want to just pre-check our knowledge and see if we can make these connections about some of the things we're going to talk about. So the pre-test is about our 9 essential elements of an ecosystem. If you're not as familiar and you haven't taken the courses yet, don't worry. It's just, this is really kind of for fun to see what we know. And what I would like to do here, okay, the link is in here. I believe that link that Sam sent, I'm not sure if that'll take you to the app. The best way to do this is to take your phone, open your camera, and grab that QR code and click on it. And I'm going to be monitoring on my end to start the quiz, the test. So let me see. And I don't know, Sam, is it possible it might not be possible to show the results because I have it on my end, unless I can share. I didn't even think about that. But I can tell you.
In and I'll see.
Okay, because it's my account too. I just thought about that. But if not, I can still tell you guys the results and see, because I can see it on my end. All right. Let me get a thumbs up when you have it up and you're ready to go. Either a thumbs up icon or does anyone need help? Does anyone having trouble getting in here? The other way to do it without using your phone is to go to vvox.app and put in this ID number that you see on the screen. All right, is everybody good?
I'm on the welcome screen. Should I wait for the questions?
Yeah, I'm just making, okay. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
You're right where you need to be. All right, so I'm going to play the questions and play a timer. And it gives you, all right, can you all see the question now?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to look at that top question, plans regular activities throughout the year to provide learning opportunities for families about their children's language and literacy development, and then choose what category this fits in, what element. Is it integrated planning and teaching around an anchor book, supports for dual language learners, or strong partnerships with families? And you have 10 seconds and go. All right, we got 33% in integrating and planning around an anchor book and 66% in strong partnerships with families. Okay, so the correct answer was the family, strong partnerships with families. So planning those activities throughout the year to provide learning opportunities for families about their children's language and literacy development. All right, so I'm going to go to the next one. Can you all see that one that starts with photographs and posters? Photographs and posters reflecting children's cultures, families, and languages are visible. Which one of those applies here? Okay, everybody put the right answer. Culturally responsive and preserving environment. Going to the next one. Invest in classroom resources, materials, toys, books, etc. in children's first languages. All right, everybody got that one, those supports for dual language learners. All right, the next one, prepare materials in advance to minimize the time children spend sitting and waiting. That's right, everybody, those routines, rituals, and transitions. Okay, engage with children in frequent back and forth exchanges. This one's a little tricky, I think. Oh, everybody got it. Children as conversational partners. The reason I said it's tricky is because you really can use back and forth exchanges in anything. Observe children regularly across a variety of activities and different parts of the day using developmentally appropriate tools.
Welcome, Miss Elizabeth and Miss Bridget. Hope you guys can join in with us.
All right, observation and monitoring of children's progress. What about talk about and model how letters are formed? That's right, focus on emergent literacy. Thoughtfully select a few focus words related to the book to reinforce throughout planned activities and informal opportunities. That's right, integrated planning and teaching around anchor book, 100%. Okay, I'm going to exit from that. Thank you all for playing our little pre-test.
Yay! You guys did great.
Yes. All right. So today, here's what we're going to focus on. Here's our priorities for the day. We're going to go over norms, just kind of norms for this meeting. We're going to talk about the ecosystem approach. We're going to take a look at the ecosystem construction measure and really talk about how we're going to use that in this cohort. And then we're going to, Jennifer is going to take it over and go over our purpose and our intentions around this group specifically. And then we're going to have some time to reflect and think about if we want to make this commitment and have some closing and next steps. All right, first are the norms. There's Norm from Cheers. If you guys know, that's Norm. I always like to put him up with my norms. So we are just going to all agree to be open-minded and flexible to change, step up and step back. So give people opportunity to speak, but also speak up if you have something on your mind. Be present if you're able to, like I said before, if you're able to open up your video, then That's one way. Another way is just engaging in the chat or unmuting and asking questions and talking. Respect the opinions and communication styles of each other. Listen to understand and commit to pause and reflect throughout. All right, we're going to move on from those. All right, so you all probably heard the term ecosystem used in one way or another. And I just want to ask the question. You can put it in the chat, you can unmute. In general, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear that word ecosystem?
Classroom environment and the school.
Yeah. Anybody else? So when I always get the right answer, like you said, Ann, because I'm asking educators, and that's what we're thinking about. But when I think of an ecosystem, I think of the next slide, Sam, if you don't mind. The next slide, this kind of ecosystem. Like, what is that fish's ecosystem right there in the middle, or that deer, and what's around these animals? And there's plants and there's water, and I think of like an ecosystem, like I'm watching National Geographic. But that also helps me in terms of education, in terms of the environment that our children are in. Each child has their own ecosystem around them. And these are the places they go, the people that are part of their lives, the materials, everything in their ecosystem. All right, we'll go to the next slide. And this is a little video, and it does a good job in like 2 minutes of describing an ecosystem. Now, it's my voice. I said this. I didn't write it, but I did say it, and I think it's put very, very well. So instead of me saying it now, I'm just going to let you hear me recorded.
You guys let me know if you have any issues hearing this.
Michael does not live in a vacuum.
With all those bubbles.
His development is shaped by the environment in which he lives and the people in it, starting with his home and his mom, Kyla, and expanding to his community and society. Michael's life is impacted by the adults and peers he encounters each day, like his toddler teacher, Evasia, and his friends at school and in his neighborhood. His life is influenced by whether his mom is healthy or sick, or whether she is happy or stressed, and by many other economic and health conditions that may affect them. His family's cultural values and norms, and political and social issues of his community also play a part. All of these come together to create a complex web connecting child, family, and environment. Together, they make up a child's ecosystem. The learning environments children experience in the first 5 years of life are a critical part of this ecosystem. Through loving, nurturing interactions with the adults who teach and care for them, children learn to communicate, express emotions, and develop social skills. They are encouraged to become explorers, observers, and problem solvers. These powerful relationships catalyze learning, promote competence, well-being, and emotional connections, and even shape a child's brain architecture. A relationships-based, language-centered ecosystem supports the development of young children's language and literacy and all learning, and establishes a solid foundation for reading. Through literacy, every child can achieve all they are capable of. All of us play a role in constructing this supportive ecosystem for children. Families, site directors, teachers, instructional coaches, other professionals, policymakers, all working together. We need all hands on deck to achieve radical, equitable outcomes for children. Together, we can change the present, transform our communities, and build a better world for Michael and all children.
I just realized I was muted. All right, so that was just a kind of summary. And Sam, we'll look at the next slide. We have another way to look at this from this quote. Children's development is influenced by the multiple systems in which they exist. And it talked about that in the video, but I wanted to highlight here, in addition to the home and family, a child's development is impacted by child care, school, caregivers, teachers, and peers. And that's our focus. That's what we focus on. And so I just wanted to kind of highlight that and look at that. And so in the next slide, we're going to look at this document. It shows the 9 essential elements. And I like this fan here. It shows the clusters, which are just basically putting them into groups. And so the first cluster has safe and responsive climate, a culturally responsive and preserving environment, consistent routines, rituals, and transitions. In the second cluster are the content items. Children as conversational partners, integrated planning and teaching around an anchor book, and a focus on emergent literacy. And in the third, we have observation and progress monitoring, intentional supports for dual language learners, and strong partnerships with families. And this is going to be our main focus, is to look at these essential elements. And there is a document on Cox campus that is called A Closer Look. And Sam put it in the chat here. And in that document, you will see the elements, like basically an outline of the elements. Can we go to the next slide, Sam? Now, this is the cover page. So it says an ecosystem approach, developing foundations for language and literacy in the early years, and a closer look at the essential elements. And you can search for this on Cox campus if you don't have the link, but the link is there for you. Basically what this does is it breaks down, and here's what it looks like. So that's the first page. I want to look at page 2, and let's just look at one of the elements. Okay, this gives
Is
you
this the page you want, Nathan?
Oh yeah, page 3, sorry.
That's okay.
There we go. All right, so what it is, why does it matter, and what does it look like? And then it breaks it down, like what does this look like for adults working with infants and toddlers, for all children, for children. And you can see things like using child-directed speech. What does it look like for children? Encourage and comfort their peers. So what does a safe and responsive environment look like? And I'm going to look at page 4 now, Sam. Please. Okay. So on this page, we can see some actual examples in these links and in these QR codes. And then at the bottom, we see reflection questions about it. And is it possible to show one of these videos, Sam? I want to look at older toddlers if possible. The 4th one, yeah. Thank you. So think of what a responsive interaction looks like as we watch this video.
Were you sad? Why were you sad? Can you explain to me why you were sad? Could it be because you didn't get a turn to use the microphone? So tell me that so I can understand. Okay, all right. The next time I need you to calm your body because I don't understand when you're not using your words, okay? All right, so would you like to see the microphone? Okay, would you like you to use the microphone and you can sing it to me in my ear? Okay, would that make you feel better? Okay, let's stand up. Can you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth? Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Calm your body. You ready? Okay, can I see a smile? Yay, big smile. Okay, come on.
All right, so if I was in a classroom and I saw that, I would go back to the form. Let's look back at the form on page 3. And on page 3, it shows, I'll give it just a second. If we could share, Sam, thank you. On page 3, I see, let's go back up one page. Right here at the bottom, it says, when issues or conflicts occur, use strategies to honor feelings, calm, and support each child to ensure an ongoing connection. And so I would see that and I'd say, you know what, they're doing a pretty good job there. I think they have a safe and responsive climate in this classroom. All right, so let me see. So the next thing we're going to look at, well, let me open it up. Do you guys have any questions about this document? No questions. Pretty much makes sense. So each element is in here. I just wanted to show you the one. And so now I want to show you another document called the Ecosystem Construction Measure. And this is 2.0 because it's our second version of it. So the link is in the chat. Sam put the link in the chat. And we're gonna, if you could share that screen as well, Sam. I want to show you a little bit about this one. So on page 12, there's a lot of information as she's scrolling through here. Please take the time to look over this document, but I do want to point you to a few things that we're going to focus on in this cohort. So on page 12, it shows that cluster and it shows that element, the first one, a safe and responsive climate. And then it shows numbers, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. This is how we would rate a classroom and rate a whole site, a whole school, based on what this looks like under each emerging, developing, or established, or maybe in between those. And so this is the tool that you would use. It also has the course that goes with it, the description, sources of evidence, and look-fors. But you can also use that closer look document to really back that up and get examples. All right, so now we're going to look at page 30. And this is where you'll put the information in. So you've got a way to put a rating. You can choose a drop-down rating for that safe and responsive climate. And then you can type in what it looks like. What are the current state of affairs? And then put in where do you want to be? So you put your notes in there so you know what you're kind of striving for. If you're at a 2.5 and then you want to be at a 3, then you're going to note that in there. And you can use some of the verbiage from that previous page. On page 40 in here, there is one of our assessment tools, which is used to assess that. And basically it just gives you each area and a place for notes and a place to rate. So this is just an example of one way. I think there are about 3 in here that you could choose from. This is the one that I like because it just opens it up and I can take notes. And then the last page I want to point you to is page 40. Because when we're in this cohort, once we look at these and assess them, we're also going to be setting some goals. So on page 40, no, I'm sorry, page 33, we were already on page 40. On page 33 is the joint action plan, which, as you can see here, action steps are down here. What do you need? The resources. So we're going to put the site, we're going to put the element, what we're focusing on. We're going to choose very specific goals that we need to work on for our site and focus on, and then set an objective, set that goal, and set those action steps. How are we going to help to make progress here so that we see progress in the classrooms and progress in the children's outcomes? So that's kind of an overview of the main areas of this very long document, but these are the areas we're going to be focusing on in this cohort. All right, any questions about the ECM, the Ecosystem Construction Measure? Everybody good? All right, we'll go back to the PowerPoint and I'll pass it over to Jennifer.
All right, thank you, Nathan. So we are at the point where we're going to state our purpose. So we're trying to find out why, the 5 whys. We're going to go over the purpose for our year-long journey ecosystem cohort. So we're going to start off with number 1, purpose, why. Provide a space for peer support around implementation of the ecosystem approach at a variety of early childhood education sites to deepen understanding on all 9 elements and create a positive and productive ecosystem for all children involved. Our second why is it's critical to effective child outcomes in language and literacy. In order to be effective at a larger scale, leaders need to understand and practice the best use of the ECM and the essential elements. Peer support, along with guidance and support from Rollins facilitators like Nathan and myself, will offer the best practices for the tools that we'll use from Cox Campus. Why number 3, educators need to fully understand the implementation of the ecosystem beyond just completing the course and related tools and resources. So in order for classrooms to utilize this approach, sites must adopt it as a whole. Therefore, each site needs support and guidance around effectively facilitating observations, supporting discussions and reflections, and identifying key areas of growth within each organization using the ecosystem construction measure tool that Nathan just described. Why number 4? So children's ages birth through 5 already have ecosystems, creating an environment in which educators, families, coaches, leaders, and others are well aware of the elements necessary to have a positive influence on the language and literacy development of each child. And our last why, children are given more opportunities to thrive when they are offered strong relationships with the adults in their lives and the 9 essential elements are fully established. So I know that was a mouthful, but here's our purpose statement. So to provide support for implementation of the ecosystem approach at a larger scale so that all children have an opportunity to be part of an effective ecosystem that is established in all 9 essential elements. To build community among a diverse group of individuals working towards positive relationships and progress in child outcomes in language and literacy development. So after hearing all of those whys and our purpose statement, did you have a chance to hear your why? Why are you here today? What brought you to this intro session here and sparked your interest in joining the cohort? Okay. Next.
You all
So
can feel free to put in the chat your why as well, if you want to just put it in the chat.
Yes, and if you're still thinking, that's completely fine as well. So what question do you want answered? So if there's a question that comes to your mind when you heard the purpose statement, the whys, is there something that you want us to answer while you're participating in this cohort? Feel free to share that question with us. And that'll help Nathan and I prepare to include that in this journey. Next. What would shift for you if that question is answered? Next. And we'll give you a few seconds, maybe a minute or two, to just kind of pause and reflect on the information that Nathan and I have just shared with you all. We want you to really take some time and think about how serious you would be wanting to commit to this cohort. And if you have any questions for us while you pause, feel free to come up off mute or put it in the chat.
While we're pausing here, I would like to hear from some of you all what your experience is with this, if you are fresh to it, or you can put in the chat or unmute. I'm going to ask you first, have you taken this course, the ecosystem course on Cox Campus? You can just put yes or no in the chat, or see 2 yeses and 2 nos so far. Anyone else? Getting ready to take it? Okay. Okay. Jennifer works at the Atlanta Speech School and is familiar with it, but hadn't taken the course yet. Got it. All right. That helps us too. And let's see, who in here is a leader at their school or has a leadership role in any capacity? It could be a mentor teacher, you work with teachers.
I see
Or-
Jennifer has her hand up.
Program, okay. Oh, we have a
Miss
college.
Nan, okay.
Okay. Coaches.
Okay.
Hmm. Hi, Bridget. Hi, Elizabeth. I work with Bridget and Elizabeth. They are both curriculum specialists. Awesome. So I see different levels here. So if that's great because this is meant to be a peer network so that we're working together. So whether you're fresh to this or you've had some experience behind it, that's going to be really helpful. As you're working, we'll have smaller groups as we're working through this. And basically what we're going to do is kind of what we showed our purpose and we also looked at those documents. We're going to use those documents to go through the ecosystem. So each section, each cluster is going to be done through within a couple of months at a time. So we'll start on the first cluster. We'll look at those 3 essential elements. You'll observe. If you choose to observe in your whole site or with your program, that's one way. Another way is to choose a classroom or 2 to really just focus on. So it depends on your capacity. Ideally, we're looking for someone who's in a leadership role working with teachers in some type of capacity, and ideally 2 people from your program or your site. Now, we can make some, we can accommodate if there's just not anyone and you feel like you can take this on, but ideally you have somebody else to work with. If you're a coach, you work with the director on this, and we would want you to invite them to this meeting as well. Same thing if you're a director and you have a coach or a mentor teacher, ideally having a couple of people who can do this. And even if you're a teacher in a classroom and you want to improve your classroom and you want to work with a leader at your site, a coach or a director, that's another way that you could have a team. So we want to kind of be flexible to that and be inclusive, but also, have this impact that you can have on your site. So just think about that. Think about if this is the right fit for you, if this is the right cohort. I think we mentioned earlier, but some people have joined since. So I want to mention again that it's twice a month, starting in October and running through May, that we'll be meeting. I think there's only 1 meeting in May, and there's also only 1 meeting in November and 1 meeting in December because of the holiday season. And the flyer that's on Cox campus has the information about what we're going to focus on for the dates. And we do have, if you are interested in making that commitment, Sam, we'll go to the next page. This is where you can register. So, and if we could put that link in there as well. Thank you, Sam. You can click on the link, or you can use the QR code and you can go ahead and fill out that survey. And this is to sign up. So this is showing that you're interested. There's a few short questions in there asking about your commitment level. There's the last question asks about times, and we're going to do them on Thursdays, and we put in either 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And we're really just going to kind of take the majority wins, and work along that schedule. So we have a 10 o'clock and a 2 o'clock. And it should take about an hour and a half each time. Today's is not going to run that long because it's an information session. but we want to give you all the time to come in and share what you've seen, what you've learned about your site, and really ask each other some of those reflection questions and work together. And normally this process is meant to take place at the beginning of the year, and you do all the 9 elements. And what we're offering here is a peer support group that's a year-long journey that's going to take the entirety of a school year to complete all 9 elements. So that way you can focus in on those clusters and really kind of hone in. That way, maybe the following year, you're willing to take on the whole thing and just re-rate at the beginning of the year, go in with the ECM, and be able to go through all those 9 elements. And I know that some people will be doing that anyway. I know Elizabeth and Bridget, for example, I'll be working with them, and they've done this before, and they have some experience with it. So, but that's great because we're working together. We've got peer support and just coming in and sharing. So I think it's a great opportunity. All right. All right. So in there, it also asks for your email address. So does anybody still need this link? I know it's in the chat. So we should be good. And share with others. Share with others at other sites.
Yes.
Please share out. There's no limit to who all can join this, because even if it becomes too large, we'll have smaller groups. We can absolutely work it out. And Jennifer and I will be there with you along the journey.
Yep.
All right. We'll go to the next page. All right. So the next steps are sign up for the cohort, which maybe you already did. Complete and review the course, complete or review. If you've already completed it, it's a good idea to review. You can go back on Cox Campus and review. If you haven't completed it, that is a prerequisite before October. So you've got a month to finish up the course. Review those documents we looked at, the ECM 2.0 and a closer look document, and then check your email. If you signed up, or if you're going to sign up, or you've got anybody else signing up, then we will have your email address in that form, and we will be emailing you all. Any final questions here before we log out? What's on your mind? What are you thinking? Comments or questions? You can unmute or put in the chat.
Yep. And if you have any colleagues that you know this would be most ideal for, please share it with them as well. Invite them, the more the merrier.
All right, next slide. And we just want to thank you all for joining us today. There's our Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. And we do look forward to seeing you at that next session in October. And just check your email. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. You have a great rest of your day.